Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Lazar, and today I'm gonna give you my thoughts on Palworld. Now, bear in mind, I didn't get it for free. I bought it with my own money, and I'm gonna give you an honest, down-to-earth opinion on this game. First of all, most of you are wondering, hey man, is this actually worth buying? I seen the feed, right? If your feed is anything like mine, if you're into gaming, PC gaming especially, your feed probably has been blowing up with Palworld, with all sorts of information about the game, and everybody essentially posting videos or talking about it. And you know what? They're kind of right in the sense that this indeed is one fantastic game, and if you're just interested in that information, is it worth buying? Then yeah, definitely 100%. And this coming from a guy who normally doesn't really play survival games, because the next thing you should know is that this game and Ark Survival Evolved and not only have a lot of elements in common. Essentially, if you played any of these survival games, you know the basis of Palworld. But of course, you don't just have survival elements, you have, let's call out the elephant in the room, you have some Pokemon-ish elements, the whole feel of it. You got some Farmville elements, you have guns in this game, which is a little bit brutal, but on the other hand, nobody really kind of done it like this up until this point. I played the game for about 30 hours, and within 30 hours I didn't really get to see everything that the game has to offer, and that's a fantastic thing, because if you consider the price of the game, which is I think about 30 bucks on early access, so yes, the game is chock full of bugs. You see, it has this pal over here. This is a Penkin. Now, the Penkin are absolutely amazing. They do so many fantastic things, and essentially they're kind of MVP for me. But you see, this little Penkin, this specific one right here, gotten himself stuck for some reason. He's been staying here for the longest while. And if you saw me there, I was pressing my F key desperately trying to dismount, because mounting and dismounting in this game is again a little bit, let's not say bugged, let's say a little bit on the finicky. The way it works, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So my little Penkin here, no, there's no friendly fire, is awfully hungry, but he will not move to the feed box to actually get himself some food, unfortunately. So that means, what am I gonna do? Is he gonna die of starvation? Haven't seen any of these pals die of starvation, but for example, the way you can fix a bug like this, you simply go to your base, you dismount, there we go. Open up your pal box, find the guy which is hungry, which is this guy sleeping, and you essentially redeploy him like so. And then he's gonna go straight for the chow chow and get some grub in. Essentially, this is representative of the type of bugs you're gonna encounter in Palworld. This is a base, this is not a very optimal base. You should not build your base on a side of a cliff. Nobody told me that when I started the game, and I can't be arsed to move the whole base. But you can have multiple bases throughout the world. Speaking about the world, this is the world. You see, you have all sorts of markers, fast travel points, and you also have markers for bosses and etc. Basically, my favorite part of the game is summoning a pal and just riding off into the sunset, checking out all the zones which I haven't explored, which means what? New environments and hopefully new pals to catch. The actual process of catching up. Oh, did you guys hear that? I'm gonna pump up the sound so you can hear that. When you hear that noise, that means a rare or a shiny is around us. So I'm gonna show you the process of catching one. This is a shiny, it's a Catvia. You get yourself the appropriate Pokeball and you throw it at him. Well, let's get a more powerful one. There you go. What you should be doing is bringing down the health of said pal before you try to catch him. Unfortunately, because he's a level 2 and I'm significantly higher than he is, if I hit him with anything, he will die. Please cooperate. If he doesn't cooperate, I'm gonna have to hit him with a mining tool or something. There we go. What you can do when it comes to a situation such as this is essentially hit a Pokemon with your mining tools, and because your mining tools are not really gonna be doing all that much damage, so you should at least on a theoretical level, be safe. Throughout the world, you have all sorts of resources, as you might expect from a survival game. Yes, there is wood, there is stone, there is special minerals like palladium, and as per the usual, you can either mine it, you can chop it down using your, well, axe, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the guns are one of the more attractive parts of the game, because, you know, who doesn't want to shoot Pokemon pals in the head like that? Obviously, shooting them in the head is not really gonna do you much good. It's better off to catch them. You still get the resources from them. For example, you need the fur, the meat, and whatever else. But again, if one of these pals attempt to resist your mighty pal ball, then you can simply give them a couple of whacks. Careful not to kill them. Now, the killing in this game doesn't really work like killing per se. Essentially, they go into this perma-stun mode. So you see, you have a little chicken here. My mount right now would attack, so I can command it, do not attack, and go hit that thing with my axe. Come here.
Come here, I want to catch you. Oh, I see you. Come here. The chicken, sit it.
See, give it a couple of good whacks over the face, and then it'll be all good. See that? Insta 100%. And in essence, that's basically how you capture pals. Obviously, the higher level pals will be more difficult. You can also capture bosses, which is definitely an interesting thing. Again, careful with the HP bar, because in many cases, you might knock them out or kill it and not be able to capture it. Back to basecraft, as I said earlier, you can have multiples, and thankfully that fast travel system is gonna be coming in mighty handy, because you essentially can fast travel between your bases, like so. For example, this is a fantastic place to farm some ore, because you will need a ton of ingots. So you essentially kind of set up these mini bases throughout the world if you need something in specific. Now you don't have to, but this will accelerate your growth. And speaking about your growth, in essence, you start off the old prehistoric way. You get yourself a stone tool, and then you go up and up and up until you get yourself guns and metal armor and so on and so forth. Here's another cool feature of the game. You can crossbreed Pokemon. That's right, my friends, and the result will be highly interesting depending on your combination. For example, a lot of players are looking for this guy. This is an Anubis. You can hover over any of the pals and press F to see the details. And you get yourself your stat, your work suitability, and the passive skills. From what I understood, these passive skills are completely random when you actually hatch or capture one of these pals. For example, the Anubis will always have handiwork level 4, which is one of the reasons he's so sought after, transporting 2 and mining level 3. Speaking about tips and tricks, outside of the Anubis, what I recommend you get is this amazing thing right here. This is a Pen King, and the Pen King has watering 2, handiwork 2, mining 2, cooling 2, and transporting 2. He's a goddamn MVP. But of course, he's not the only one. For example, you even have these giant size mammoths. It's called a Mammorest. The problem with these guys is the fact that they're absolutely huge, they're absolutely useful, but the bigger a pal is, the easier it will be for it to get stuck in terrain, walls, etc. So normally we try to avoid as much as possible using these big pals. Sadly, some of them are actually quite useful, and you know what? I would love to see them walk around. But again, when you're building your base, make sure you have a big flat area, because bugs will definitely happen. So I'm just gonna be swapping out the mammoth for Petalia. Petalia is absolutely fantastic. Speaking of which, take a look at that. Planting level 3, handiwork, medicine production, transporting, and gathering. But unfortunately, mine rolled a pacifist. That's minus 20% attack. Do I care? Not really, because I'm not gonna be using her for my pal team, the one you have rolling around. Here's a bit of a tip for you. The best ground mount in the game, which is not legendary level, is gonna be the Fanglobe, and I recommend you get this one as soon as possible, simply because it makes everything in the game a whole lot more smoother and quicker. In essence, you want to try to enjoy the exploration and capture everything and explore every facet without the whole slow, tedious, and annoying side, so get the Fanglobe as soon as you can. Now, of course, you might not and will not get access to it straight away. A couple of other mounts which are fantastic at lower level are gonna be the deer. I don't know the name, it just looks like a deer with white and purple. And of course, the wolf as well. Now, the wolf is faster when it comes to the actual ground speed, but the deer has a frontal charge very similar to the Fanglobe, which looks something like this. Now here's a couple of deers. Now let's say I want to catch these. These are level 9. Now I am level 30 something. That means it might be a little bit problematic of my pal attacks. So what I'm gonna do, again, command to not attack. I wonder if it can take a bullet in the head. Let's see. Well, we have two. If one
fatality.
That didn't work. That didn't work. But let's try a different approach. Axe them to the face. As you might expect, all of these pals have abilities, and you can teach them specific abilities as well. So if you're looking to breed for combat, you have a lot of flexibility in that one as well. For example, one of the best attack pals that I have found so far is this guy right here, and he is called Bushi. In essence, he's a boss that you'll be able to fight and capture, and he's a bit of a samurai of sorts. Pet Bushi. Oh, I can pet Bushi. Looky here. I can pet him. I pet him on the sword? Oh, look at that. That made him happy. Now let's say I want to attack that Tombat. I want to completely annihilate him. You see, I have that special ability, Brandish Blade. I'm not going to be able to use it while he's in passive mode. I'm going to command attack aggressively. Now I'm going to command him to attack with his Brandish Blade. Again, his special ability. He will teleport, do a slash, and essentially the pal hit the dirt. I can't catch him now, so if you went a little bit overboard, you can no longer get him in the ball. They are, for all intents and purposes, knocked out, or as we call it, dead. Throughout the world, you'll find all sorts of treasures and secrets. For example, you will find chests, you will need keys for some of them, and some of them you won't. You're gonna find pal spheres, coins that you can use to trade with, well, traders, and all sorts of materials. Oh, and by the way, as you might guess, there are creatures, or better said pals, that only come out at night. For example, the Dead Dream. Did you know that the Dead Dream doesn't need to be summoned for it to actually roll around with you? That means you can have 5 passive Dead Dreams walking around you at all times, which is definitely neat, but when you're trying to catch anything, keep in mind that they bomb the crap out of everything that stands in front of you, so that might be a little bit problematic. These are the fast travel points. You'll find plenty of them scattered throughout the world, and they're gonna come in very handy because you will want to teleport from base to base. Now, I did tell you guys about those fantastic saddles, didn't I? You're gonna need a workbench to make them. All of these saddles will unlock special abilities for your pals. For example, riding, or perhaps even better, a shotgun, or a machine gun, or even a rocket launcher. What? You don't believe me? Allow me to demonstrate you. At early levels, you can get the following pal. He's actually quite useful in the base as well. This is called a lift monk, and they're a bit of a pain to catch, simply because as soon as you aggro them, they start running away. And at high levels, that's not a problem. At low levels, without a mount, catching them and actually getting them in the ball might be a small challenge. Now, this is my level 24. It's called the Sober Machine Gun for obvious reasons, and allow me to show you what this one can do. After I build the Life Monk submachine gun, I have access to his ability. I simply press it. Where'd you go? Guy, come here. There we go. I simply press F. I can track the ability at the lower part center screen, and I can shoot things now. Or better said, me and him can shoot things, like so. Now, later on in the game, you're gonna be able to get this guy, this big guy. This is essentially a overgrown panda with a leaf Timo-like helmet. I don't know. But more importantly than that, his special item, or its special item, is a goddamn grenade launcher. I need ingots, high quality palm oil, and pallium fragment. I'm just missing a couple of ingots. Thankfully, they're already cooking. Now, you might be wondering, hold on, do I need to make this item for every single instance of Mosanda or every single pal in specific? No, you only need to craft it once, and then automatically every instance of that pal will have that ability. Now, while the ingots are cooking, let me talk to you a bit more about breeding. When you're done breeding, you're gonna get yourself an egg. However, eggs can be found throughout the world, and then you gotta put the egg in an incubator. But as you can see, we have a bit of a problem with this huge dragon egg. Incubation speed 0%, so it's gonna be taking a while. And no, you can't log off and come back in a couple of hours, then it's gonna be hatched. Essentially, it just counts active time in game, at least with the base settings of the server. Essentially, this is the vanilla experience with Palworld. Now, if I want myself some speed, it says seems a little cold. Ah, I got it. That means I need to build a heater. Ta-da! Here's a heater. But the heater requires kindling. That means you need a pal that has the fire attribute. We do have a couple around here somewhere, but they like to slack off. Like this guy, which is stuck in the thing. He's resting. Resting. You just can't simply pick him up. Pressing your V key. I don't know what you press on controller, or even if this game has controller support. And then you just simply chuck it at the heater, and it gets manually assigned to it. Or he goes to bed, because there was a bed next to it. Let's try that again. Let's try it. Okay. Get to the heater. Fixed assigned to heater. Fantastic. Now this is generating heat, which means in the incubation speed for this one is plus 50%. Ooh, jam-filled buns are ready. Get your jam-filled buns. Get your jam-filled buns. It is important to get your pals the best food that you can, because it helps with their sanity. Let's make one more run for some additional ore, because you will have to make ingots like nobody's business. Ta-da! The farming plantation for ingots. Well, technically it's a mine. And I'm just gonna pick up as much as I can and head back to my original base. Speaking of which, you might be curious, what stats should I embrace? In my opinion, you should always go for weight, stamina, and maybe a little bit of health. In attack, I wouldn't really put all that many points, so again, prioritize at least at the start of the game carrying more. So weight, a little bit of stamina so you can run longer and do multiple things, and maybe a bit of health. I think we can craft it. Perfect. Now, of course, having the actual materials is not enough. You also need to keep F pressed down and essentially do the work. Of course, your pals will have the handiwork trait, and the ones that have a higher handiwork will obviously be working faster. So it's gonna take a while to make that Mosanda grenade launcher. But do you remember earlier, I showcased the Anubis, and the Anubis has handiwork 4. So what I can do is grab an Anubis and manually set it to this workbench. Okay, I found you. Stop moving. Don't. There we go, we gotcha. Ha ha ha! and I'm gonna manually assign them to this here workbench by throwing at them. That'll work. Now you can see it's visible the difference between the cat pal and the Anubis, how fast it's actually crafting that grenade launcher now. So it's important to assign the right pal to the right task, essentially. And you might be curious, what's with the farm over here? This little Vixie can create balls. Yes, balls. Now you might have noticed something. My balls, I honestly swear, I didn't mean that. Now the spheres are of different caliber or tier, and you start off with the basics, the blue ones, and the blue ones are called PAL spheres. Essentially, you're gonna be using these for anything low level. They work fine up until level 10, 12, something of the sort. Then you move up to mega spheres, which are green, giga spheres, which are yellow, and I shouldn't be wasting them, and hyperspheres, which are red, and I'm definitely not wasting. Now obviously blue balls aren't really gonna be all that useful past a certain level, so how can I make this little Vixie give me higher level balls? The balls are not bigger, they just simply change in color. Introducing this thing, and I do believe this is called the PAL Essence Condenser. And it basically does what you might think. It takes a whole bunch of PALs, the same PAL, and condenses them into a single one. Why in God's name would you do such a terrible thing? Sacrifice your PAL. Because of the level of the special abilities that these have. For example, I can use a chicken at the farm, and he has egg layer level 5. But normally, the chickens don't have level 5. Level 5 will simply mean that he lays more eggs faster. It's the same for the Vixie. What I can do is take a bunch of Vixies, mash them all together over here. When you choose your base pal, make sure you have one with good passive skills. For example, this one is fantastic because it has Workaholic level 3. Now it has another level here. Look at that. Dig here level 2. What I want is that dig here level to be higher. I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4 additional Vixies. Begin condensation. Yes, and essentially that's it. It's done. And now this Vixie has dig here level 3. Now let's say you're a bit unhappy with how fast things are going at your base. You can build a monitoring stand and simply change from normal to hardworking to super hardworking. Though do bear in mind, this does have negative effects. Essentially, sand depletion will increase, will go through the roof, and you're also gonna need additional food as your pals will get hungry more often. Here it comes! Here it comes! She's gonna lay a ball! Arrows instead. Did I mention she can also give arrows? The Mosanda grenade launcher is ready, and that means it's time to show you. But you know what? Why don't I show you an actual boss fight, huh? Though I really feel like I should be saying da 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 when I write this guy. Some bosses have their own dungeon, like the Pen King we're gonna be fighting, and some bosses you can simply find out in the wild. He is level 15, so what I'm gonna do is go to green balls. Yes, PAL Mega Spheres. Now him being level 15, I'm gonna be very careful of how much damage I'm gonna be doing. We're gonna get ourselves the Mosanda. Now I'm gonna show you the grenade thing. And the punch. What just happened? Okay, so I blinked through a wall, I think. Did I mention that this game has some bugs and it's in early access? I'm gonna build up that Mosanda so I can show you that fantastic ability that he has. We will go Grenadier Panda. Boom, boom. I mean, what game allows you to do something so amazing? I'm on the back of this overgrown panda, bombing the crap out of everything around me. But not only that, my friends, I also got other abilities as well. For example, Crushing Punch. Like that. How freaking cool is that? And we're just gonna get the Pen King low, and then gonna try to capture him. Oh, that reminds me, I need to set him to passive so he doesn't absolutely destroy him. How come that didn't AoE hit him? One more? Just one more. One more? I'm afraid to punch him now. I'm afraid to punch him. We're just gonna dismount and just make doubly sure that he's not gonna kill him. I'm just gonna de-summon him and we're gonna go green balls. 45% chance. Come to Papa. Another Pen King will be fantastic. And that's all there is to it. And again, keep in mind, I did get all of the resources. So you get the resources if you kill or if you capture as well. And I do believe, my friends, that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, my name is Lazer. Hopefully this video was useful to you. Again, it does get my full recommendation, especially considering the price. You gotta be aware of the fact that it does have some bugs because it is, at the end of the day, early access. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. And subscribe for more if you enjoy stuff like this. Bye.